All right, time now for Better Books. Whether you're looking for something fun and light or something with a little more depth, there are some great books to check out right now.
All right, Lori Fazio from R.J. Julie Booksellers is telling us about a few of them. So I know a lot of people are looking forward to some beach reads. So we've got What the Road Said by Cleo Wade. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so I brought some kids' books today, and it's always such a challenge to pick the right ones because there's so many great books. But What the Road Said, with graduations coming up, is the perfect book for any age because it's a picture book, but yet it answers some deeper questions. So the little kids will enjoy it for fun, and even some older kids will enjoy like really thinking about what it means. So where are you going? Or where is this road going to lead me? And then the road says, well, that's really up to you. You're in charge. One of the things, how do I start? The road smiled and said, you have already started. Well, what happens when I get there? And it says, do not skip straight ahead to the ending. Enjoy the beginning and the middle too.
Yeah,
and there's these great pictures, and it's just, fun questions. And what if I get lost? And what if I get hurt? So it's a good family thing, and it's a really great graduation gift for all ages of, probably up to maybe 12 years old if they graduate from middle school.
I love that. Enjoy the ride along the way. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
that's right. Don't skip to the end.
The artwork is beautiful.
It really is. It really is. And so then I brought in Kafka and the Doll. So you might think that Kafka isn't really appropriate for young kids to read. But this is a true story. It's based on a true story that Kafka and his love were walking through a park and they saw a little girl crying because she had missed her doll. And the doll, she couldn't find it. And Kafka started writing letters from the doll to this little girl of like this doll going on all these adventures. And then Kafka, got ill and he was trying to figure out, well, I'm not going to see this little girl anymore. So without going into depth in this book, they kind of explain, well, the doll is getting married and moving on her own adventures and you won't get any letters from her anymore. And then Kafka, sadly passed away, which again, they don't go over in the book, but it's a nice introduction for kids of how sometimes just letting something go is the right thing to do. And it's a really sweet story. And, if you've never read Kafka, he was just, even though his writing is very particular, he was known as a very warm man and very giving to the people around him. So kind of fascinating.
Yeah, I love the message there. That's so awesome, introducing kids to that.
Yeah, really important lessons too. And both of those books that you just mentioned, I think for not just for kids, but for
adults as well.
Everyone, yeah.
All right.
Definitely. So Earth Day just passed. So how could I not bring a book about plants? And this is World of Plants. You can see it's an oversized book. It is absolutely gorgeous. And it has facts, it has maps, it has charts, all these great illustrations. It talks about photosynthesis, and how to pronounce it, to permaculture, plants that eat animals. I mean, how fun is that for a kid? I remember my grandfather, who was a florist, I would go into the greenhouse and I was obsessed with the Venus flytrap, and sticking a pencil in there.
Yep.
The lives of plants, and it goes through the cycle of plants. And again, it's a beautiful book. It has a lot of information in it. So it's fun for this time of year when people are getting back outside and kids are getting back outside and exploring.
Yeah, so fascinating.
Feed me some more.
Yeah, that's such a good show.
So I brought two for the middle grade, for probably 7 or 8 up to 12. 13 Witches is the first in a trilogy. It's fantasy with magic. Not all fantasy has magic in it, but this sure does. But it's also realistic fiction, which is you're wondering how they do that. And Harry Potter is sort of a version of that, where you see this person living trying to get through everyday life. This little girl is doing that. She's trying to figure out her mother doesn't seem quite right. And so she finds that she has to conquer these 13 witches to get her mother back to her normal self. But she's got her everyday, world to get through, school and friends and all of that. So it combines all of that really beautifully. And then I lastly brought The One and Only Bob. And the reason why I brought this one to talk about is because The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate was a huge success. And I was watching the Oscars the other night and I hadn't realized that it turned into a movie and it was nominated for an Oscar. Wow. So I was like, well, if you haven't read The One and Only Ivan, which is about this gorilla who is encaged in a mall, and he's got his 2 little friends, and he realizes, Well, he meets this little elephant and he's like, well, we've got to figure out there must be more than thing in this glass, case. Well, Bob is one of his friends. And so this new book is about Bob's adventures looking for his long lost sister. So really great family books.
Awesome. Thank you, Lori. We appreciate it. You'll find these books and many more at R.J. Julia Booksellers on Boston Post Road in Madison or on Main Street in Middletown. You can also browse online. Just go to rjjulia.com.